Hi there, my name is Jeremiah. For as long as I can remember, I've had an almost morbid fascination with anything and everything paranormal, especially those things that venture into the darkest recesses of our primal fears and spark the thoughts that for most would be the stuff of nightmares. In 2007, this fascination, along with some unexplainable experiences, led me to start a paranormal research team known today as Everyday Legacy Paranormal. Then in 2011, a road trip led myself and a close friend into the darkest places we had ever been. That was the beginning of Road Trip Paranormal. Now, while still active with them, I no longer lead either of those teams, but the people that make them up are the best friends a guy like me could ask for. Myself, along with Jason, Leo, Roth, Max, and Michelle are reaching out to share our passions for everything odd, fringe, and paranormal with the world. We are Cryptic Heartland.
Okay, how's that? Does that make a difference? Get back over here where I can see his reply.
Do we have all the mics on?
Yeah, I found this.
I hear it now.
Still learning the some of this new equipment.
No worries.
Yes. Okay.
Cool.
Yes,
All
he
right.
says he hears us now.
All right. So, again, this is episode 36.
Yep.
We are Cryptic Heartland. We're gonna just go through it again.
Yep.
We're
Let me get my note cards out. No
Yeah,
kidding.
cool. Go ahead.
No.
What you're saying?
Once again, this is the podcast we talked about where we talk about anything and everything. Everything's free game. We poke the bear. We poke each other. We do anything. Like I said,
Be careful poking Rose. He might do like the Pillsbury Doughboy.
I'm not going to touch that one. But yeah, this is episode 36. Like I said, down below, click subscribe to our page. Make sure you like our videos. Get the word out for us as much as you can. We appreciate all the followers, all the comments. And we're also on, like I said, every social media known to man. We're on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, hell, I don't even know. Ones that's not even out yet will be on that one too. So
Absolutely.
make sure you also like the Everyday Legacy Paranormal, all the sites, Road Trip Paranormal,
Bigfoot in
in
Kansas.
Kansas, Darkness Live. Make sure you like that one also too. Like I said, we have so many things we're doing right now, so many adventures that we're growing by the second. So
Absolutely. And don't forget to like and share Cryptic Heartland here on YouTube.
Yep.
So share it, get the word out there. We want to hear from you. We want to argue with you. We want to
Yep.
test the waters here on what everybody believes and what they don't believe.
Yeah.
And
Definitely.
Yeah.
And with that being said, you see the number down below, 316-200-9066. Call in, debate us on anything you want to talk about. Whether it's what we're talking about currently or anything you have on your mind, let us know. We're here to talk. But we're also here to hear your opinions. So make sure you reach out to us. I'm hearing feedback. Sorry, that's probably that. There we go. I thought it was the mics. Okay, there we go. There's so much buttons everywhere, and as you can see, we're growing our studio by the second too. We got all kinds of fun stuff.
Yeah, we got a bunch of new equipment this week, and so you'll just have to. I'm still learning how to operate it, so just bear with us if we have any trouble, like we did a while ago.
Yep, a lot of buttons to push.
each time we get on here, we're probably going to look a little different until we get settled into the way we want to be seen.
Right, and heard.
Yeah.
Maybe, if audio works.
Yeah.
I'm kidding.
Everything's working.
So this week's topic.
How's everyone doing?
I'm going straight to topic. I don't care about everybody's
Okay.
doing. No, I'm kidding.
Fine.
I'm doing good. How about yourself, man?
I'm all right. You guys got a reveal that you guys are going to do this week.
One of many. We got so many coming up. So people at home that if it has asked us to come out, we're getting to every case possible. We have quite a few on the books right now. That's why we're a little slower than we like to be as far as getting the reveals done. But we haven't forgot you. We'll definitely get you your evidence as soon as we can. So bear with us.
End of the year and first of the year is always the hardest.
Yep.
Hardest time trying to get everything together. That being said, we're already busy again. We've got Dodge City already sold out for April, which is next month.
Yep.
My God, it's already next month. And then July is Oberlin.
Yep.
We're going to be doing back-to-back nights out there. Thank God, so we're not having to do one night and drive all the way back.
Yeah.
We're going to actually be out there twice, two nights. So
Definitely.
that's a lot better. It's a lot better because you weren't there last time, were you?
Oh yes.
You were there. Yes, you were. Yes,
Yeah,
you
he
were.
was.
Yes,
Yeah,
you
he
were.
was. He missed the one
You,
before that.
You had the
No,
flashlight and
No, I've
everything.
been
No,
there
he's been there every time.
That's
Only one I missed was Nest
Nest,
City.
that's the one.
bank.
Which we'll probably go out there at some point too.
Nest City,
It's in the
yes.
Wilson will get out there.
Nest City is going to probably be around October. That's
Okay.
going to be our Halloween spot, I think, this year.
Very good.
So
Yeah.
I'm working with them to try and do something fun
Nice.
for the public. Do a little, like I said, it's going to be Halloween, maybe Halloween oriented.
Oh, yep.
So it's going to
Gotcha.
be a little bit more fun that way.
Yep.
Because not only will we possibly have you and everybody dress up Halloween costumes, maybe, but you get to investigate the haunted bank
We
all
should all
night
go as
long.
the Ghostbusters.
I already got my suit. Yeah.
Do you really?
I already do. Yeah.
Wow, there we go.
I don't know if it fits, but I have it.
So I do have a quick question. Somebody's texting
Who
me
the hell is
asking me
that
why.
talking? I'm kidding. Hold on. You're not on camera yet.
That's okay. I don't need to be.
There you
Somebody's
go.
asking
you
why
are.
Leo is in black and white and why Jason is in color.
I am actually not here. I'm a hologram.
Have you guys ever know? I can't
Yeah.
see it. But
If Jason passed, it's because of my monitor. So
Okay.
look,
I wore my
if I put that down.
Bigfoot shirt tonight, whereas normally we have our shirts on, for the team.
it's because, like I said, if you look now, probably the glowing screen is not there anymore. So now I may be in studio or I may not.
Yeah, you're fully manifested now.
But that is why. Like I said, I could be a ghost.
Just got like a floating head.
You just
right there.
poked right through me. And,
almost looks like a hologram.
yeah, I noticed that, and I thought it was lighting in here, but no, it's the screen. Good question though. We want the real questions, though. We want the ones that'll pick our brain apart. Hopefully,
Yeah.
We like discussing everything, each week's topics. We like going off the cuff. We like doing anything. So,
Also, before we get started,
Dang it,
was
dang
that?
it, bro.
you
Who
guys,
is that?
I heard you guys have a phone line set up.
We talked about that one.
Ah,
Where's this guy coming from? It's the voice in my head that's not here.
No, we
Yes.
do. We do. Roth's right. We do have a number on the screen you
There
can
it is.
call.
I
We can
think
take live
Jeremiah
calls
was telling
and
me
everything.
that it's something was different about it. Is that right?
He's like, I'm working over here.
Something different. Well, there's
We're-
a lot of things
I
different.
think you were
but-
saying something about where we didn't need to have the headphones on to hear the caller come in, or
No, we
No,
got
you do have to
You
have
have to
them.
have them on?
Yeah, you do have to have
guys. I've had a long week, so
Yeah, I hear ya.
I'm gonna let these guys move forward.
Yeah. Just want to say a quick shout out to everybody at home. Hey Jake, how you doing? Stephanie, Dan, anybody who's tuning in. I'll say you as I see you, hopefully. So that's the ones I've noticed visibly seen on screen. So there might be more out there. I apologize if I don't say hi to everybody. So just waiting to let Jeremiah get some stuff situated here while we talk, and then we'll get into
Oh, just keep going.
No, we are.
I'm not on camera right now.
No, I know you're not. But so yeah, everything's going relatively well this week. It was a busy week for I think all of us. I mean, just with paranormal and just real life stuff.
Had an earthquake earlier today,
Yeah.
Right?
Yep. So
which I don't think I even felt it or even paid attention to. To that,
Well,
I
you
don't
know-
even remember when it happened. So
I kept feeling something all day. So I don't know if that was the pre-workup to it. I've been sitting there, I had my headphones on all day, working on the paranormal things, and I kept feeling stuff the ground move. I'm like, what the heck? 'Cause the stuff I was listening to was a little bit more edgier. It's a sensitive case that we're going to do a reveal here pretty quick for one of our clients, and pretty dark. And I couldn't tell if it was related to that or if it was the earthquake. But that's before I knew we had an earthquake.
right.
Because the earthquake happened about 2 hours later. So
What time did it happen?
I couldn't even tell.
5:17.
5:17.
So this was early in the afternoon. So maybe I'm assuming it's a pre-tremors. Maybe I don't know. But definitely my house was moving, and kind of freaky when you're listening to what I was listening to.
I don't know
was
if
it
it's just the
earthquake or-
I don't know if it's just the ground makeup around here or not, but down there around your area,
Yeah.
when I lived down in that area, there were a lot more earthquakes that I felt.
Yeah.
The earthquakes haven't slowed down. I just don't feel them as often. I don't know.
Right. Yeah. No. Like I said, I was listening and doing things, and like I said, the stuff I had on there was. I won't go too much into it, but it's maybe a demonic case we're looking at, and that's why I didn't know what I was listening to. The evidence was kind of
You mean for the reveal you're doing
Yeah.
coming up?
not the one immediate first one, a different one.
Oh.
But it's one we talked about off camera before. But yeah, but yeah, I was listening and doing some videos for it and cutting everything up, and I don't know if that had to do with anything with what was happening in my house, but because it was just me and one other person in the house at the time,
Never
and,
know.
he was little, so it wasn't him.
Kind of, what you're talking about kind of draws into what we were wanting to talk about
Yep.
tonight. Does certain things you talk about, look at, review, or whatever, does that actually have any connection to what's happening in your life or around you
Right.
with, say, the paranormal?
Yep.
Or weirdness or anything.
Yeah, definitely.
So,
I seen Ben just join. Happy belated birthday, sir! Your birthday
Absolutely.
was Friday, Ben Nichols.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
yeah.
So
Old
happy
man.
birthday, sir!
Happy birthday, Ben.
It's been a minute since I physically talked to you. I know Jeremiah talked to you yesterday, so
Yeah.
but happy birthday again. Yeah, it's funny you say that because I've seen episodes, all the paranormal shows you watch on TV. I know a lot of it's entertainment, but also some of it has some weight behind it, But what I notice is, and I've seen it in my own personal life, when I'm watching certain episodes of certain shows, depending on what the subject matter is, I've noticed the darker the episode is, the more activity even in my own house picks up.
right.
And I've noticed people's comments on their sites and stuff, they kind of mirror that same kind of image, or as far as they're saying, I'm watching this episode and my house is just having all kinds of voices, knocks, whatever. I'm hearing weird sounds that are usually not happening until I watch your show.
Right.
So it makes me wonder, is it the possibility that that thing can resonate outwards, as far as activity-wise?
Well, let's just start with when we first started doing the show, and the first location we were doing it in.
Mm-hmm.
We started talking about the demonic stuff.
Right, the occult, demonic,
Yeah,
all
and all the dark stuff. And we were at the time we were in a known haunted location that we've already done a lot of work in. We did I don't know how many investigations we did just on our own.
I could even imagine.
And the fact that the employees that still work there have their encounters.
Yeah.
But the moment we start talking about all the darkness and all the demonic and occult, it seems like everything around us just started to get
it picked
more
up.
alive.
Yeah.
And people were who were viewing it at the time were actually saying that they could hear the voices in the background.
Right.
And stuff.
Well, yeah, and I remember one episode in particular is the one number 6, which was the demonic one we talked about, and I remember a couple of things happened. I think it was that same episode. It might have been a different one. We had one talking about conspiracies and stuff also, or it was I can't remember what it was, actually possession or something. But during the demonic one, I know we played a video. It was during, I think it was The Exorcist. No, it was not during The Exorcist. It was, we were just talking about The Exorcist case,
right?
Where it's based upon the actual case. And I remember going home and watching this part of the video that night to see what it. Just because I heard a couple things throughout the night, when we were talking, and there was definitely talking that wasn't any of us. You could hear actual voices on there that wasn't any of us. So it was pretty surprising to me, and especially the type of the subject matter it was. But another case we talked about, or another incident during one of the shows was we were talking about the infamous Robert the Doll.
Yeah.
And everything was going smoothly, and all of a sudden the show decided to the video, audio, everything just crapped out in the middle of it.
Well, wasn't that when the laptop just went completely blue screen, didn't it?
Yeah, for no reason. It worked up to, and this was, during our 2-hour podcast, this was probably the second hour, and maybe about 30 minutes left, if even that, or 15 minutes left.
And it froze right on his face.
Yeah, we talked right in the middle of it. We put up his image, and all of a sudden the screen, like I said, freezes, and the show just goes away. And it's like, what the hell? And it took a couple of minutes to get it back up. We came back, and that one always stuck out with me too.
It could be just a coincidence, but at the same time, with everything that was happening and the subject matter that we were talking about, it was just. It was strange. It was very strange.
Yeah.
Well, and then we talked about one of our infamous ones that was close to all of us. We had our guest on, Brandon Callahan, the author from Kansas City. We were going through a particular part of the episode. I can't remember, was it the part with the cemetery, I believe, when the thing, we were talking about, he was getting to the good part with the thing rearing up on him, getting charged. Yeah. We lost his feed, we lost our feed, audio, and everything just went away. And it makes you wonder if it can, like I said, go outwards when we're discussing this stuff.
Yeah, that was even a couple of weeks after we started using the hardwired connection,
Yeah.
so there was no reason for our data feed to go away.
Yeah.
None whatsoever.
Right. No,
but we lost him first.
Yep. And he was the one talking at the time, telling the story, that part.
Yeah, we lost him first, and then our data feed went away.
Mm-hmm.
It was just crazy.
Yeah. It's just... Yeah, I think sometimes the subject matter, or even what we play or what we talk about, it does affect us a little bit. Which kind of brings us up to tonight's topic. We were going to talk about trigger objects,
right,
and things of that nature.
And just a little shout out. The reason why I brought that topic up to you guys, maybe we should talk about it, because Dan actually. Messaged me after the show last time and said, "Hey, why don't you guys talk about that?"
No.
So
Absolutely not.
So
now that we know where the idea came from,
had I known this whole week, I'd been like, "Hell no!" I'm kidding, Dan. No, we appreciate people reaching out to us.
Yeah.
I mean, there's times we're sitting here, in our production meeting discussing what are we going to talk about next week, or up to the 11th hour, and we're like, I don't even know, because there's so much we can talk about.
Suggestion.
So thank you for giving your suggestion, Dan. We appreciate that.
Absolutely.
Yep. And feel free to call in. Like I said, let us, if you want to talk about anything that's personal to you, or you have any questions about trigger objects, call in tonight. The number's down below there.
Yep.
We definitely want to hear from you.
Because there's a lot of different things out there that people may not even know that they're using or doing that could be causing the effect that's happening around them or in their house, and they don't understand.
Right.
So I don't even know where to begin. Really.
I'm going to go anywhere with this. I have a couple of different angles, but go ahead.
Well, I mean, you could look at the natural kind of aspect of things. We always talk about like limestone, like Nest City. That just comes to my mind because the whole building itself is made out of limestone. Out there in that area around the land, it's just nothing but they dig up limestone everywhere out there, and they make fence posts and buildings and whatever. And people buy limestone. They do different structures with it. They take it to their house. They do carry it around with them.
Yeah.
So what is the background behind that? What is the cause and effect to that?
Well, I mean, it's not just the limestone. It's any kind of certain mineral,
natural,
natural metallic kind of a, earthbound kind of a substance. I know quartz is a big one. They say even graphite can hold energy.
Oh yeah,
yeah. And you think about, think about just in everyday life. I mean, copper and water and things of that nature. Those are all conductors, of electricity, of energy, power. So in the paranormal field, we feel like that's what holds objects or the energy in, whether it's good or bad. It helps, I think, generate it, resonate it a little bit more.
Do you think there's more to the haunting or a possibility of that activity when you're around, like closest to water, closest to any kind of like structure like Nest City?
I think so. I mean, yeah, we've been in cases where we're sitting there trying to pick our brains as why is this occurring, and then we look out in the backyard and there's like a runoff or a creek behind the place we never knew even existed. It's like, oh crap,
right?
Maybe this is part of it because it's a natural conductor, so it's flowing the energy into the property possibly, or it's strengthening the actual energy that's already there. But yeah, I mean, as far as like limestone and things like that, we've noticed buildings like you talked about, Nest City, even Wilson, Kansas.
Oh yeah.
There's limestone out there. And we noticed the activity is always prominent. It's always going. It's always stronger. It never goes away. Versus some of the places we go to, and it's like, well, it happens at 3 o'clock every night, or depending on the type of haunting, of course. But it just the power behind it seems like it's a little bit more intense.
I always love that 3 o'clock. It happens at 3 o'clock. Happens at 1.
Well, if that's the case, maybe it's residual. We talked about different types of hauntings in other shows. And
my only thing is, if that's the truth, put up a video camera. Tape that.
Right.
Well,
tape that.
Go with that angle right there. Yeah. Think about how many times we've been in locations and shit's happening right in front of us, like Tahlequah with Bigfoot, and we're like, oh, look at that right there, and then 2 hours later, we're like, shit.
Why the fuck didn't I have a camera in my hand?
Why am I not grabbing this and documenting it? I think sometimes we're just awestruck. We're like, what am I actually seeing? So, and we're not there long enough in locations to have the phenomenon repeat itself, usually, like some people that live there. But yeah, we do highly suggest, with caution. I mean, you can definitely open up a can of worms if you start filming, you start recording your own thing.
Right,
so, you got to be very, very careful, because you're inviting this thing, if it's not residual, you're inviting it to communicate with you in any shape, way, or form by doing this, or reaching out to it. But
you're saying, or because I don't know, I guess I'm open, and I've always been, since doing this, I've always been open to the idea of the possibility of the connection between the land and the rocks and all that stuff. Definitely. I don't know if I've ever actually had anything proven to me definitively about anything.
I mean, it's hard to say. I mean, none of us are, quote unquote experts, other than we have the experience behind it. We're not scientists, we're not geologists, we're not any of that thing of that nature. We don't go out and actually take samples from the ground as much, as we probably could or should. I mean, we have on occasion for specific cases. We've done things like that. We've done the background, the research, as far as what is this building sitting on, or what is this house sitting on, to see if that was a cause and effect. But being in Kansas where we're at, it seems like we do have a lot of limestone in this surrounding area. Seems to. I mean, if it's not that visible out there, you can see it. I mean, and you can touch it. Most of the time, if we look at the groundwork and you can see it on the ground, or whatever, we do the research behind it, and sure enough.
So, is the rocks or the minerals or anything have something to do with the supposed ghost lights that are happening? Is it swamp gas?
That's a real.
I mean.
I want to throw in about a very, very interesting conversation I had with a fellow last night. Actually, he's watching right now. But you know, we were talking about just different types of energy.
Right.
And okay, so you know, you guys know with my background, I often speak more to the metaphysical aspect of things.
Right.
But scientifically speaking, we don't know what kind of energy is out there that we don't even have a clue how to measure right now.
Yeah.
And we don't know how it would be stored, what would activate it, what would set it in motion.
Yeah.
So, I mean, yeah, I think it's perfectly plausible that these things, water, limestone, you know, any of these minerals or elements, you know, could be basically big storage tanks for an energy that we just don't understand yet. And so then you've got, when it gets activated, you've got phenomena like ghost lights. May not be necessarily anything spiritual about it. It's just something that where the hell did that come from?
Right.
Because we don't know how to measure it yet. We don't know how to quantify it yet. And even then, I mean, well, of course, we all know what happens to batteries on investigations.
Yeah.
And then, you know, so if there's an untapped or not well understood source of, to us anyway, not well understood source of energy there, who's to say that spirits can't tap into that?
Right.
You know, I think it's perfectly plausible.
Yeah. Trying to think what I was going to say as far as the mineral aspect of it. I mean, has there been anything? I mean, maybe there is. I mean, like I said, I'm not a scientist or anything like that. What is there any truth to as what mineral or what like rock holds better energy? I mean, as far as that you've known in your personal experience or read upon. We all think limestone.
From the metaphysical aspect. You know, each type of stone or gemstone hold. I mean, it. I don't know that any of them necessarily store energy better than others, but they channel it in different ways.
They affect it.
Yes,
right, yeah.
It's more like you have to think of them in that aspect. You have to think of them more like a conduit. Yeah. And it just because of the physical chemical makeup of it, it conduits and channels this energy differently than the next stone over.
Right.
So,
which kind of brings me to what we were going to talk about. I don't know if you brought yours or not tonight, but you on location, you actually use different types of stones to get responses, to get...
I mean, I didn't bring any of those with me tonight.
You're fine.
I do have something that I want to talk about later. It's a different kind of trigger object than I've ever used before. I don't know. I don't know if you guys have ever used anything like it, but yes, I do use crystals and semi-precious gemstones in just regular. I can't think of the word for them right off the top of my head, but they're different types of stones. And yes, they react to energies, especially spiritual energies, differently, and you can get different responses with them. It can even go so far as to affect the energy that's available to spirits.
Right.
You know, in my experience, you know, I don't have, you know, scientific formulas to back that up, but that's just, you know, 40 years of experience working with it.
Yeah. No, that makes perfect sense. Yeah. Go ahead. Do you have anything?
Go ahead.
That's what I was going to say because I'm tired. For one, I'm hungry. I'm tired. Shit. Well, I think everybody thinks. Well, what do you think constitute an actual trigger object in your mind?
In my mind, I always think about like we tried to do like at the forum. At the forum, we tried to do. I know Ben brought some like World War II medals and everything like that. Just trying to find that connection in a building where there's the date of, you know, how long it's been there, and seeing if there's any spirits that are connected to any feeling toward an object like that.
Yeah.
And it's not really I guess, trying to push the button of that spirit, but just seeing if there's an effect to it.
Trying to reconnect with it, basically.
Right. So
yeah.
any kind of like old objects like that could be kind of that connection, that barrier.
Well, and, you know, and it really doesn't have to be even old. I mean, and I'll tell you why. Like we've used in location, like if it's a train station, used to be a depot. We've used train sounds. We've played off our phone. You know, we try to get a mindset to where we think, okay, what era would this train have been active? So we try to match it as far as the sound quality. We wouldn't play like, you know, a modern speeding bullet train if we're trying to get a reaction that way. Maybe we would. If we're not getting anything the other way, maybe we switch that route. But most of the time we try to match the era with the sound we're playing, you know.
And we can go back to that in a second.
Fine.
But you said, you know, not modern or anything like that. I remember we were in Ness City. And Brendan and I were actually sitting by ourselves up in the main lobby next to the main vault that's in the lobby there.
Talking about the conference room they use now? That's what we're talking about?
No, the main open area.
Oh, that area, okay.
From the entrance.
When you first come in, I got you.
So that part used to be an old bank. And this is a 4-story limestone bank built in the 1880s. So a lot of it's still original.
Right.
Well, here, you know, everyone else, you guys are all upstairs. And it's just Brendan and I downstairs, and just decided to play on my phone. I was like trying to find some a trigger object of sound,
right?
And everything. So I played Robert De Niro actually screaming, you know, this is a hold up, you know, and everything. It's from the movie.
Right.
I think it's from the movie Heat.
Yeah,
I think it was.
Okay.
And the sound of gunshots and everything, but it was like Robert De Niro doing his whole speech of, you know, you get down, and this is a, you know. And it was amazing. And as soon as we got done playing that, started hearing all this sound from the hallway and the kitchen. Sound like shuffling and the snapping of like somebody tiptoeing around. And also saw what looked like a shadow that was passing back and forth in the background of the hallway.
Gotcha.
It was like it just came to life all of a sudden.
That's when you guys talking about the shadow you had seen.
Yeah.
That we actually captured on camera.
Yeah.
And you giving the same conversation piece.
And it was
later on.
It was amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's worked. I know like we've been in a couple locations. One was a Western theme atmosphere where we played gunshots. You know, like the old 6-shooter gunshots, and it seems to spark up the activity a little bit more.
Yeah.
And same location, we also did, it was a dentist office, remember the old dentist office? And we were acting like, a dentist / doctor's kind of a quarters, and we were both, it was myself, you, and Claire, we were acting like patients, and we were, saying
I let you guys do it. I was just like filming you guys.
Well, we're just saying, because
it was awesome.
I was like, this is my wife, she needs help, kind of trying to get my southern accent on, best, my 1800s accent, and as soon as we stopped talking, you hear up above us with the doctor's dentist office, and his offices were his actual, where he met with patients. You could hear this thing start moving up there all of a sudden. You could hear talking up there. And the dentist. Go ahead. Sorry.
No. I was just gonna go ahead. I was
gonna say the dentist had an unusual name, so I'm trying to. Is that what you're gonna talk about?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. He had an unusual name. You could pronounce it many different ways depending on what your take on it was. And I mean, I was playing with it, sarcastically, and I got corrected on recording. Remember, it came out and said, "No, this is how you pronounce." He didn't say that, but he said it's blah. And I'm like, well, okay.
It was Fabrique.
Yeah.
Fabrique.
Yeah, I kept saying, is it Fabergé or
Fabergé?
I knew kind of a roundabout.
But there was an EVP that was right there that said Fabrique.
Yeah, so it's like
it was a deep voice that just said Fabrique.
Right. Yeah. So I mean, we try to get as much activity, because sometimes we're asking your usual questions. The who's here, what's your name, give me a sign, kind of thing. It works, but sometimes you need to spice it up a little bit. Connect with it on a different level.
Go to the heart.
Yeah.
Go to the heart. Ask. If that's your goal, is to actually make that connection, I always say go to the heart. Ask those questions that, if it's a human spirit,
right,
talk to it like it's a human.
Yeah, of course.
We already know it's probably there. Yep. It already knows that we're there. So talk to it. Ask,
Right. one of our earliest cases, one of my first cases with the team, and I'm going to point this out because Ben brought it up. He said toys are, for children are a good trigger object.
Oh, yeah.
We on location we use, balls that can roll, bears that can touch. The particular case I'm talking about, my very first one with them, we had a toy with a tank or car or something we had on the floor, on a wood floor, along with I think a ball or something sitting right next to it, and we were in the basement and asking questions, and we thought there was a little kid that actually was occupying one of the part of the building, and without missing a beat, all of a sudden we can hear this thing rolling upstairs. So we all run upstairs, and the thing that was weird is it looked like it had never been moved. But you could clear as day hear this thing rolling. We knew what the sound was. We knew what it was.
Where was this?
The salon.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know you guys did.
Which, the odd thing is we caught a kid's voice on camera saying Claire is talking to this. I think we might have ran upstairs.
Uh-huh.
Where we were in the basement at the time. The toy's upstairs. So we ran upstairs. We heard it. Well, then Claire's talking to this thing upstairs, and down in the basement, the camera down below captures a voice saying, "Mommy."
Huh.
So it's like,
that's right.
I don't
That's
know,
right.
but it's not like more like a female voice at that time. Which who cares what the toy was? I mean, it may have catered to boys more, but girls can play with tanks or cars, whatever we had out at the time, and who knows?
I mean, if that's all the child has, it'll play with anything. So.
Yeah. So I know one of our episodes we talked about Waverly. And the ball incident rolling out.
Right.
It was a
I've
children's
seen
ward.
that. Yeah.
We played on a couple episodes back. We played the video of the ball coming out of the room and rolling around the outside of it, and that's when Fact or Fake went and tested it.
I was just gonna say Fact or Fake.
Mhm.
Fact or Fake did that, and
Yep.
they caught that right on air too.
They did their own thing. They had their own test they tried to do, and next thing you know, the ball's they went into the room. Next
Right.
thing you know, they're out in a different part of the building. This thing's rolling around the corner doing the same thing,
Wow.
So yeah, trigger objects are great to use.
Yeah.
I mean, on location.
I was reminded of a last night during some of the conversations. I
Mhm.
was reminded of a happening down at the project house down in Anthony.
Oh yeah.
We had a toy doll, this creepy ass old toy doll
Yeah.
that talked with batteries.
Right.
Battery operated, and it would talk. I don't remember what its vocabulary was, but we had the doll sitting on the stairs, and we were in another part of the house, and all of a sudden we heard the doll say "Mama."
Oh wow.
No one was even over there. I don't know. I don't remember enough about the doll to remember what triggered it, but I do remember this. We went over there, and there was some just talk about it. So we checked the back. We thought maybe the batteries are going dead.
Right.
So it because sometimes toys will wig out
Sure.
when the batteries are going dead. So
Yeah.
we went to replace the battery. It didn't have batteries in it.
That's what I thought. I kind of remember the story behind that.
There
Yeah.
were no batteries in
Yeah.
the damn doll that just
Right.
said "Mama."
That's insane. Which we've heard a lot of parents or houses reach out. They hear their kids' toys going off, and the same phenomenon happens when they go check, and sure enough, the thing is either whatever dead or no lack of a better term, but
Right.
or the batteries are not even
Right.
in there or whatever or they take the batteries out and they think okay it's going to quit doing it, walk away and it does it again.
Right.
Kind of thing. So, what do you think is the cause of that? I mean, any personal opinions on that?
It would just have to be enough of just a strong enough energy surge to activate the electronics in there. It's the
Yeah.
only thing I can think of. I don't know if it's like some sort of a potential energy
Right.
that gets converted to electrical energy in some sort of a spontaneous reaction or what. I don't know.
Yeah.
But there's something happens.
Yeah. and the doll you're talking about was reminded that you actually had to squeeze it. The one in the
Oh, yeah.
You had to squeeze it to make this thing work. So,
Oh, that's right.
so
Yes.
in fact, did it need batteries still at that point, or did it not need batteries?
No, it
or did it have to have batteries to operate?
It didn't have batteries in it.
But
But
it
had a
still
place
worked with something that had to go physically manipulate it, squeeze it or
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
That's insane. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just go ahead.
And
I think you were saying something.
like out in Dodge City, You guys are always using a teddy bear or a ball or something on
Right.
that staircase on the second floor.
Yep.
Just a couple months ago, we were up there, and Dan himself, he brought that one bear,
It's called Boo Bear.
the Boo Buddy,
yeah.
Boo Buddy,
Yep.
which you can get online and what do you guys think about that? It's because it's programmed every 40 seconds or something like that to say something. It's like to actually trigger EVP session,
Right.
basically.
It. Hang on, sorry.
No, you're fine.
I was hearing some weird noises through this.
That's right.
Was that someone upstairs?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. So anyway, I think it's an ingenious idea. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, I think they need to come out with more versions of it. You know, other
Yeah.
than just a teddy bear.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
But-
you could do it with a creepy doll.
Yeah.
I mean,
Right.
just for effect.
Yeah.
You know?
But I think it's an ingenious idea because you've got a trigger object combined with trigger audio,
Yeah.
and you've got it also has, if I understand it right, it's also got certain measuring equipment in it.
Yeah.
I don't know if it actually takes measurements or not, but it'll take temperature,
Yeah.
and it'll actually talk. It's programmed to say things like, you know, if the temperature drops, it'll say,
Right.
"Ooh, it's getting chilly in here," or you know,
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah.
So
I've also seen the ones where it's like EMF affects it too, where it won't even turn on unless the field is manipulated. And
Right.
Something means something's getting
That's
close to it.
cool.
Yeah.
And the bear
Yeah.
itself, the Boo Buddy, actually lights up too. So it has that effect. If there's something close to it, it lights up.
Right.
I thought it was cool. I thought that would be a fantastic object for like Wilson there at the
Yeah.
hotel.
yeah,
Yeah.
There in the bedroom.
hmm
So
that would be.
One of our viewers, Jake's, brought up an interesting point, and I've seen this kind of phenomenon happen also too, especially in this location. He's been to the Sally House out in
Yeah.
Atchison, Kansas. Now, everybody knows the story behind Sally. We've talked about it on some of our episodes where, you know, she was a child, you know, that passed away, depending on what version you hear. Regardless, they think Sally is the person that occupies this particular location. Everybody likes to
Possibly.
bring toys
yeah.
for her to play or whoever's there to play with. And the thing is, the toys sometimes work, sometimes they don't in this particular location. Like, there's an overflux of toys in this particular location. So either a couple things could be possible. Maybe it's oversaturated with all this energy that it doesn't want to touch it, or he said in his personal experience that he went to a different room and had better activity in another room where there was no toys there.
Right.
So it had the
told me about
reverse
that, yeah.
effect of things, kind of, you know, we have overpopulated, you know, room of toys, and next thing you know, this other room has better activity than the room with the toys.
So take the Sally House.
Yep.
You have from the 80s, back when it happened. You have the bedroom that's full of toys. You have all that, but since then, people have gone in there and put symbols down in the basement. Supposedly, they don't necessarily allow you down in there unless you pay
Right.
money to actually stay.
Yeah.
But you have all these different areas that people have probably done a lot of things in. So has it has it changed over time? Is it still the same thing, or is it something completely different? Like you said, saturated with all this different energy, and it doesn't know what. You know what I mean? It's maybe spirits don't even know what to do with the place anymore.
I mean, knowing the location that we're talking about in particular,
Uh-huh.
there's been a lot of some of the activity I think has changed or been affected by what's been going on, like you said in there. The basement in particular, I think, at one time the house was owned by somebody who, or maybe after the fact, who performed, satanic rituals in there.
Yeah.
Supposedly, you go in the basement, they painted over it, they cleaned up that basement. Well, not cleaned up, they painted over the floor where the pentagram was drawn, and
Right.
supposedly it still reappears.
Right.
And I haven't been in there, so I can't personally say it does or not, but I've seen a
Right.
bunch of videos and research on it, and they all say the same thing. It does show
Yeah, you
up.
still have my documentary on that.
Yes, I do.
Okay.
I haven't lost it. I know exactly what I'm saying. It's in my living room, yep.
But yeah, I mean,
But what my point was to that was the fact that a lot of investigators have gone there and done their own research or done their own experiment, should I say. So yes, I think what they're inviting in there maybe is changing some of it. Well, let's just talk about the location you're talking about. We had the what's it called, Boo Bear? Boo Buddy?
Boo Buddy.
Think about when we went there, when you went there. Look how much that's changed because of what's...
Oh, man.
Not because of so much of what we've done there, you know, as far as, you know, experiments, but what the owners have done. They've changed the layout of things, you know, and we've noticed that the activity has shifted.
So we can say where it was.
Yeah, that's
Okay,
fine.
so...
Don't do it.
Oh.
Okay, go ahead.
Oh, well, we're going there next month.
Give you the address and show you the picture.
No, so so they're in Dodge City. They're at the depot.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if Ben's still listening, it's completely different than what you used to remember.
Oh yeah. Yep. Well, just the layout itself is different.
Yeah, absolutely. So the upstairs where we used to have a lot of the activity, where we had the little girl.
Mm-hmm.
She or a female. We don't know how
or
old
a
she
child,
is. A child. Yeah. It could be a little girl. It could be a little boy. It could be an adult woman. We don't know.
Right.
We've heard her voice. We've possibly seen her up there. She's closed doors, done all this stuff. Yeah. But as you know, as we've all remember it, when we first went there, it was all it was gutted, like a brand new basement or attic. You know, it was just all completely gutted up there.
Basically bare bones, what it was. Yeah.
So now, back in January, when we went there for our back-to-back events, we were shocked to see that the whole upstairs is completely renovated.
Mm-hmm.
It's nothing but offices up there. Original flooring.
Yeah.
You have, it's beautiful work up there.
Yeah,
it's amazing up there. But could it have changed what we were encountering at the time? Because I don't think anything that from the first night to the second time in January, I do not remember anything of it being a female anymore.
It didn't feel like in that part of the building. Now, as you shifted to other parts of the building, it felt like the female had moved that way.
So
possibly.
she moved off.
Maybe down the hall a little bit, or, you know...
Well, I guess I gotta say,
location,
down closer to where Carl's office is.
Yeah, right.
And in the theater and the upstairs and all that from the catwalk. Yeah, well, Paula and I even heard a female talking in the night, and we were the only ones in the building.
Right.
And the only females in the building were Paula and Michelle.
Right.
So we heard a female talking as Paula and I are walking down the hallway of the offices. There's a female in one of the rooms talking.
Mm-hmm.
So, yes, I do believe she's still there, but up around the staircase, I don't think so anymore.
I couldn't sense her in that area like I used to, which kind of was disappointing because I was afraid, and that's no dig at the place, you know, itself. But I felt like because they did so much renovations to it, maybe they may have pushed her out a little bit, or you know, like I said, like we experienced, maybe pushed her into a different direction.
Or another spirit could have.
That too.
I mean, is that the possibility too? Do you think the spirits can force each other out?
Like cancel each other out.
Yeah, one can come in to push the other one out or cancel out. I mean,
I don't know. It seems like you hear so many stories of when people go into a house or a business and they change the thing. When they start changing things, that's when the activity picks up. To me, it seems like it almost did the exact opposite of it. It kind of killed some of that activity. To me, that's my own personal take on it. But the place is still active, as we found out in other locations. We had better luck in some of the locations we never had luck before.
Right.
So maybe it did alter it a little bit, or maybe invited something else into it.
And we were standing there at the bottom of the stairs, and it was my buddy Sam and his wife Amber that we were trying out the dowsing rods.
Oh, right.
Down there, and when Amber was it was Amber and another guest too that night that was asking questions about whether or not, you know, are you a female, and it didn't move, or so are you a child?
Right.
And it said yes. So are you a boy? And it said yes. But anytime we asked for a female, they wouldn't even budge. So, and dowsing rods are another kind of like trigger object. I mean,
of course it is.
Honestly, you're just using them, but it could be something that the spirits are using. I don't know if I completely believe in them, but I've used them a few times and I've gotten some amazing results that I can't say one way or the other. So
and they are when they are done properly, they are a useful tool, or a trigger object, whatever you want to call it. but they're also easy to manipulate with, because it's, you're holding them in your own movement, or or is it a kind of a thing of mind over matter? Can I make these things cross by moving them? And who knows? I mean, that's some of the belief. Same thing with the Ouija board. Ouija board's a great trigger object.
Yeah.
Does it work? Sometimes.
Yeah.
Does it work? Maybe not.
Right.
I mean, you have to ask that question. I mean, we've used it a couple of times, and we've had some interesting results. I mean, Roth, I think you can kind of attest to that. You were involved with one of them, and we had a name that, I'm not trying to insult your intelligence or even the person you were with. If I'm going to insult you, I'm going to insult you, trust me. But it's a name that I don't think you could have generated.
No,
without having to do the proper
and as a
groundwork
matter
and
of fact,
research.
no, there's no way. There's no way. Matter of fact, the person that I was doing that with didn't even catch it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that person was a lot more educated on this stuff than I was. And
Right.
so that there was, there's no way we would have known, because it was kind of funny because it spelled it out and we're going, what is that?
Yeah.
And then you see the reaction on Leo, and he's just,
Right.
I could tell something was wrong, and
Well,
we ended up shutting it down pretty quick.
It
We're
started
going,
to
"What's
add
this?"
up. That's what the thing was. I mean, because prior to that, well, even a different time we investigated there, we asked the questions. We used trigger objects such as the ghost box, which I have here, and we can show it on.
Yeah, I think here after a bit we'll start showing the.
Yeah. But we were asking the questions down there, and this thing tells us it's a demon. I kind of laugh it off because, I mean, through our experience, our research, I mean, demonic cases we talked about, they're very far and few. They're out there.
Yeah.
I mean, I've personally maybe encountered maybe once, twice, maybe. And Jeremiah, you've been doing this a lot longer than I have. You've had your fair share.
Yeah, but even so, I mean, you're talking very few compared to the other cases I've been involved in,
Right.
and dealings I've had with anything paranormal.
Mm-hmm. So going back to this, I'm sorry, Jay. Were you gonna say something?
No, I was just gonna say. So, Oklahoma, where's that categorized?
My opinion, Oklahoma was not demonic
Mm-hmm.
in most aspects. I do think there were some malignant spirits there.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm still of the belief of all of my experience down there. I'm still of the belief that was Native American magic gone bad and neglected.
Right.
Okay.
Or
Very true.
used for a purpose.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
I agree. That's where I was going to say. I
Okay.
think it's Native American. Like we can call it magic. Yeah. Because that's a different topic. I mean, as far as maybe a medicine man was involved, which we've been told possibly, and things of that nature. But
Because you and I and Renee, that one house that we did, where do you think that categorized?
you're talking about. I understand about.
Yeah.
Well, kind of what we came across is something we've never faced with at that time that we've been aware of. We think it has to do. I don't know if I want to say it, but
Let's do it. Let's rise
Might as
and
well.
get this house going.
Uh,
Come on.
we talked about on the topic of the Hat Man.
Right.
Oh,
Is it a
that one?
belief?
I didn't know you were going to talk that.
Yeah. Is it a belief? Is it an urban legend? Is it?
I always thought it was an urban lit. I thought it was a myth.
Yeah.
Until we started diving more into different things, and the more people I've talked to
Yeah.
who have actually even possibly encountered seeing one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because I think you and I had gone on an interview
Yeah.
Yeah.
Recently. Yeah.
with Michelle and Jason and I, and we're just hanging out. Within the first 10 minutes, they just start describing
Yeah.
the Hat Man
Yeah.
to a T.
and he had no
Jason and I
idea.
just looked at
Yeah.
each other like, oh boy.
Yeah.
And I'll let you go ahead and finish, but it was, yeah, he had no clue.
Well, and it kind of goes in the realm of what the family was dealing with
Right.
up north.
The first incident we came
Yeah.
across. Yeah, they described the same individual, tall, thin, which almost some people would classify maybe as Slender Man, which is, that's another man-made myth.
It's a man-made myth.
But
yeah.
the Hat Man, we don't know is or isn't. It could be, but they were describing the same person with the tall, kind of the long, tall hat. Kind of to me, I picture an older gentleman, but the thing is, they don't have the face would always they would describe as being, you know, hollow blackened out eyes,
or,
no eyes,
or almost looking like
elongated.
roots.
Yeah.
Like tree
tree
roots.
roots.
elongated
hands and
face,
stuff
you
like
know,
that.
the hands. Would
Are we
seem-
talking about Slender Man or Hat Man?
Hat-Man.
Okay.
Yeah, but
Just
A little
this
bit
is
of
what
both.
we've
it
been
kind of
described
comes
as.
across as
Okay.
both. I mean, but the fact that we
Yeah.
faced even more recent in the last probably year and a half, we faced probably 2 or 3 cases that we know of that are
Right.
similar. They all have
Right.
described the
Well,
same person.
the thing about it is you know, the Slender Man can be traced back to a definite origin. It was the website Creepypasta.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
You know,
Right.
It was more
back
of a
in
hoax,
what
yeah.
in the 90s or something like that.
I can't remember the exact year,
Yeah.
but yeah, I
But
understand. Yeah.
so, you know, something like that. But
Yeah.
the Hat Man, after I first heard about, I had never heard of it before until we talked about it. That on
Right.
you know, I think it was actually during one of the shows
Yeah, they
that
did.
I first heard about it, and I started looking into it, and I mean that the Hat Man legends can be traced back like
Right.
decades, if not you know close to a century.
Yeah. Because it's almost like a cross between, when I hear Hat Man, almost like a cross between what would be considered a Grim Reaper, or because he's coming to get you, you know, to put the curse on you or take your, you know, your life away, or I forgot the other person I was gonna say, damn it, Grim Reaper, or shit, what the hell was it? Oh, demonic, like a not a demon, but somebody has minions or followers.
Right,
On it. And I'm
right.
talking about the little cute little yellow guys off of
Right.
Despicable Me. I'm talking about the followers. You know, it does. He's the leader, and he sends people out to do his work basically. But I remember.
I just don't know how we even come up with that information of knowing
Well,
who
remember,
or what he is.
We were
and stuff.
discussing it on property, remember? And as silly and as childish as it sounds, I said, remember I brought out the name Boogeyman. Remember? I
Yeah.
know that it's kind of an urban legend once again, but there's been actual cases of things they can't describe, you know, with facial features and, you know, imagery that
Right.
would scare anybody out, you know, with the sane mind. There is such thing, I think, as a boogeyman possibly out there, or maybe not even a boogeyman is the right the appropriate title. But once we came back and one of our researchers, you know, heard what we were saying and did a little bit more legwork research on it, he was like, this when we first started hearing the name Hat Man, you know, more so, and it fit the title more, or fit the occurrences a little bit better, I feel.
So is there anything that like draws like a trigger object that in the family or that person that is actually drawing those
Yeah, how does
dark
one just show up?
yeah.
That
like,
brings up
what's-
a great point. I mean, maybe the person is a trigger object. I mean, we've had another case. We talked about granola. Think about the child that had the incident with, you know, a tragic event in her life, and all of a
Right.
sudden this evidence starts, or not evidence, this activity starts coming out. You know, that
more
wasn't
generated
there
toward
before.
her or around her.
Due to the darkness or the negative energy or whatever, you know, all of a sudden you got things such as poltergeist happening. You got, I mean, almost like we talked about off air, the black-eyed children. You know, remember they were saying this person with the missing eyes or, you know, burnt-out face kind of a thing. And
Right.
to me, it was something manipulating her to, in my opinion, was trying to get her to gain its trust by, you know, appearing in a childlike form.
Right.
Which we know sometimes demons have that capability to appear usually in a female form, because what's more innocent, you know, an adult male, adult female, you know, a boy, you know, a child boy, or an innocent girl, a little girl.
I think the children are more creepy.
They
So
are.
I would like be more turned off by that than I would an adult. I don't know.
But I mean, am I
yeah.
more apt to, you know, feel threatened by a little girl or a little boy?
I think I would start questioning just a little child showing up at your door more than I would a man or woman. Because first off, I'd be like, okay, where's the parents? You know, looking,
Right.
why are these two kids, you know, okay, there's the van, they're selling, you know, I'd start thinking, okay, are Girl Scout cookies coming around? Why is this kid here? If an adult showed up,
Right.
or a young adult, I might be more easy. Oh yeah, you can use the phone here, and not even think twice about it. But two kids, I'd probably be more, okay, what's going on?
yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, but
especially if they didn't have eyes.
Yeah, that's what.
You know,
That's where it gets a little interesting. I mean, we were talking about that earlier today.
Right.
I do have a quick question, not to go back, but we guys were talking about trigger items, and you know that a lot of this stuff's new to me. I'm learning, but what's your guys' thoughts on mediums or somebody that can go in a room and you know you can tell something's there off their emotions? Would you consider that a trigger item? Because a lot of the shows, different things, you know, you'll have somebody that comes in and they check the room out. They can't necessarily hear, talk, but their emotions come over them and they can tell if something's positive or negative. Do you consider that a trigger item? Because I think that would be a little easier than bringing a doll in and waiting for it to talk.
Well, I for one, you're basing, you know, everything.
Don't you? I mean, come on.
But you're basing everything on viewing somebody,
right?
and you're taking their word for it.
Yeah.
So do you take their word for it? I mean, I try to talk to you about Bigfoot, and you don't take my word for it.
Well, but okay. Well, there's a difference between that and Bigfoot because, like for instance,
I'm just saying.
Well, just for instance, at
but
our shop,
you're not taking my word
no,
for it, though.
No,
But you're going to take a somebody who's just talking to the darkness.
You know,
Speaking of triggered,
Here we go. I'm going to push the button a little bit. Well, no, and it's not that, but here's the difference. So at my parents' shop, we had somebody with those abilities show up.
but did we?
Two.
Did we though?
Yeah.
I mean, do they have that ability though? That's
Hopefully,
my
because
question.
well, let's just put it this way.
This is what he was saying.
Right,
You're
but-
taking their
but-
word that they have this
No,
ability.
what my word is they
That's
went
what he was
in
saying.
by themselves, came out with the same exact story, except for one little one. One person saw somebody in my mom's office and the other didn't.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, everything they said was to a T. So that right there makes, you know, that's different than Jason saying, I believe in Bigfoot, so why don't you believe me? You know, if you have...
I don't really say
you know,
that. I try to tell the evidence and stuff that's been happening. They still don't believe me. But, you know, and people who research it all the time.
Uh-huh.
But, you know, for me to just hear, yeah, sure. I walk further into a darkened room, and I can even go, oh, I just don't like this. Oh, I just don't. I feel really weird
Right.
over here. I could do that myself, and maybe even freak you out.
Mm-hmm.
So how is that possible? You know, I mean,
okay, so if I
I'm
didn't
not
know,
saying
if
it's
I didn't
not
know
real.
the person, yes. But I think if you know, with a couple of the people that you guys know real well, I think we would be able to hopefully believe in them. You know, now
I'm
I'm
not
not
saying I
talking
don't.
about just one person that we hardly know coming. I'm talking about people that have actually tried to prove themselves to the team. So I guess my question is, would you consider them a trigger item?
I mean, in the essence of a trigger object, yes. I mean, because they're channeling
Okay.
something, but I'm trying to keep my beliefs out of this because I don't even know where I stand on mediums and all that stuff. I know where I stand, let's put it that way.
Right.
And there's a few people out there that have the capability to actually do this because they can prove it by. I mean, let's say the place you're talking about in particular, you were talking about a certain location, and we went there and experienced it, so we know firsthand kind of what we have an idea of what could be lurking there.
Right.
And they came in, they kind of were able to hit on some things, or talk about some things possibly.
Yeah, and I'm not going off of what versus what you guys have found
No, I know.
as a team, but it's kind of odd that they would come out and say the same exact thing.
And I
You
find
know,
it
that
fascinating.
was
I know.
fascinating
I
to
find
me,
it fascinating,
you know.
and it's very.
Because you're
odd.
definitely right. Anybody could walk in. I mean, if I went in and went, "Oh my God," you guys are going to probably believe me because
It's-
I'm part of the team. I've never given you another reason why I would do that.
I just overdoing this for what 9 years, 10 years. The amount of people, and I'm not trying to knock people, but the amount of people that we go into their homes or they want us to come to their house, but yet they have the gift. They have the gift. They say, "Oh, I've had this around me all my life," and I'm like, "Okay, great. Why do you need us? Why do you need us to go in there and videotape and do all this stuff if you already know what it is and you already see what it is? What are we gonna do for you?
Right.
What's the point?" But are they telling the truth? Or are they not telling the truth? You know, are they really? Do they really have the gift, or do they not? You know, we could go in there and maybe try to debunk their abilities and say, "Nah, you're not."
Or maybe
You know,
we
we
go
could.
in and give them actual evidence because they don't have the equipment to record EVPs.
They have themselves.
And, you know, I
They-
think maybe that's why they're. having
Everybody
us
has a
come in.
smartphone nowadays. Just hit record.
Yeah.
You know, and they could just.
Don't do that, folks, because you still need us.
I'm just saying. You know what I mean.
Oh yeah.
And so yeah, the person themselves could be the trigger object. I mean, whether it's medium or not,
Yeah.
a person can be. I mean, I think, you know, Carl at the depot could be a trigger object for some of the activity. He's there
Right.
all the time.
Right.
You know, he's there all the time.
Yeah.
And I think, and just a little shout out to John at the depot. He just had his first experience out there, you know, and he was by himself because he's been there for 2 or 3 years now, and I feel like possibly he's bringing it out with him
We're getting more
and
used to
stuff.
it.
Yeah. So yeah, I think people can be a trigger object too, not necessarily if you have the gift or not have the gift.
Right.
I you know.
Right.
I don't know. That's my opinion on it.
Yeah.
Good opinion.
Yeah. I'd say with that, people send all your gifts to me at Cryptic Heartland. Oh, we're not talking about those type of gifts. I'm sorry.
Send those to me.
And you can send your hate mail too. I don't care. I'm open to it all. Just nothing. No bombs, please.
No.
No powder.
No.
So in our next hour,
Yeah.
we're going to actually show you guys some of the trigger objects that we use on location and everything. Leo's got a ton. You've got some things that you guys do, and
got one right here.
Yeah,
Trigger object.
we
Big
sent it
trigger
right
Hey,
object.
go in that dark corner over there.
Yeah.
See what's over there.
but yeah, so
Yep.
do we want to take a break for just about 5 minutes or so? And
Yeah.
Yep.
come right back.
Yeah. So stay tuned with us.
Stay
We'll be
tuned.
right back. Don't leave.
Yeah, don't leave.
don't
we got
leave,
stuff
don't
to
leave.
show.
Take this opportunity to like and share everything you can from us, okay?
And subscribe.
And go to the bathroom or whatever you
Yep.
need to do.
We'll talk to you in a little bit. right, and we are back. So yeah, while you're at it, while it's fresh in our mind, just go ahead and, in case you haven't done it already, hit that like and share button, and subscribe on the YouTube channel, and do everything you can to help us get the word out.
Truth.
Okay,
Alright.
so where were we? We were talking about
Gifts. I want gifts, remember?
gifts.
I don't have the gifts. I want the gifts. So bring me tomorrow. No, okay.
And it's not a knock toward anybody who think they have,
Oh, yes.
because
it
maybe
is.
they do,
Okay.
or whatever. I think there's probably 2 or 3 people out there that I truly believe have that ability or anything. But I just wanted to say, I'm not trying to knock, but at the same time, half the people that I come across, they always say, I have this ability, I have this sensitivity to it. I'm like, that's great. What would you like for us to do about that?
Well, going
You
on
know.
that theme, I know Jeremiah especially, maybe will kind of attest to this, but they may feel like they have the gift or have some kind of ability, but everybody's first impression is to jump to, I'm a psychic, I'm a medium.
Right.
Maybe
Right.
you are, but most likely probably not.
Right. Yeah.
It's more you're probably, empathic maybe.
Yeah.
Or,
I mean,
Or
there's there's a whole range of
Right.
different gifts, and not just the spectrum of different gifts that we're talking about, but the level in which you can have a gift like that.
Right.
I mean, so some of the people, like our good friend Lena, who is just phenomenal with her abilities.
right.
That's very, very rare. You know, you
Right,
just
yeah.
don't you don't find people like that around on every street corner.
right.
But I do believe a lot more people could have a sensitivity.
Sure.
Is what I would call it, more than
Yeah.
more than a full-fledged gift.
Right.
They may be sensitive to some things, but
and who knows, the activity in their house or whatever could have been going on for so long, they're finally just picking up on it.
Right,
They're finally
right.
noticing stuff, so therefore, yeah, they're becoming to the ability of like, oh, I'm paying attention to it now.
right, yeah.
Instead of,
And it
I
could-
have a gift.
Mhm.
or something changed in their life where
Yeah.
maybe something took a turn for the better or worse,
Mhm.
and something's feeding off of that,
Right,
So I mean,
right.
there's different possibilities, but yeah, as far as psychic abilities, they're kind of I'm not gonna step on anybody's toes, but I have yet to see anybody full on, full fledged. I guess we'll say they can has that ability that I've seen, anyways.
Right.
And that's no digging. I mean, Lena
Right.
is great at what she
Right.
does.
hmm
I know some other people around here locally that have impressed people. I mean, I won't say their names, but I mean, well, I can't. I guess I can't. He's known out there. Bob is one of them that comes to mind.
Yeah.
I've had people that didn't know that I did this, or didn't whatever. That has actually talked to Bob and was able to picked up on things in their lives
Right.
that he should have never known, and
Right.
it impressed them.
Well, I tell you, second only to Lena, Bob giving me the second
Yeah.
most accurate reading that I've ever gotten.
The blue dress.
Yeah.
I remember you talking
Yeah.
about that. Yeah. So
And my
Jeremiah wears a blue
grandpa's
dress, by the way.
my grandpa's no, not a cross-dresser. Sorry.
Too late. Too late. It's out there. He dresses in blue dresses.
Took me a little while to catch
That's
that
all
one. You
right.
snuck that one in there
That's what I
good.
do.
He paused way too long on that.
Yeah, 'cause I actually used to look up to him. Now I don't know.
Sorry, you were saying about your grandfather. Sorry.
You're all right.
Subject.
It's my shoulder injury.
Oh, okay.
So
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So I mean, he does have something. I don't know what level. I mean, I never had a chance to work with him much.
Right.
Or, had a conversation with him, but to the extent I'd like to. But or same thing with Lena. I haven't really had a chance to talk to her either, as much as I want to, at some point. But them two, yeah, there's a few that I know of. I know you probably have a couple of them, the ones you're thinking of too, possibly.
Oh, I have one
Yeah.
that I've actually worked with a couple of times, and it was a pretty extraordinary case. In one location, it was out in St. Joe, Missouri, and it
That's
was
what I thought you were talking about.
it blew my mind of the stuff that was happening around me standing next to her, it was, and she kind of expected it, called it out, and what happened around me was just mind blowing. Right. I walked away there just totally changed on the idea of, okay, this is real. Right. But I don't think everybody has it. No. I think, maybe you yourself could be a trigger object to that phenomenal, whatever it is, in your house or on the land itself. I mean, but...
Or what if everybody does have it, and they just don't know they have it yet, and they don't know how to use it yet? Because that's always been a theory, too, out there, that everybody has some form, even you, Jason.
Wow, really?
Has that ability, but you don't know how. You never discovered it yet. You don't know how to use it, kind of a thing. Right. That's been a thinking for years too.
Nope.
Is that on the Bigfoot side?
You can push him over.
Love you, Jason.
Great. I found him. He's right there. He does exist. Just shut your mouth, Rose. That's good stuff, man.
Anyway, back to like trigger objects to that.
Yes.
So when we go on a case somewhere, what kind of things do you guys prefer to do when it comes to trigger objects? Good question. Say, because we hear the stories, we do all the interviews, but what do we get there? Not a lot's happening. So what's your first go-to thing?
For me personally, I think I read the room first to see what their claims are, where we're at, kind of a thing, whether it be the type of city we're in or just anything. There's different levels to that, and then I kind of play off of that. I mean, there's sometimes I think everybody sees all the well, I mean, even on this TV show, you see the same people. They don't use the same object every week. They may and maybe they do. They just don't show it on TV.
Right.
They use different array of things as far as different types of maybe tools we're using or whatever
Right.
And that's kind of what I do with our investigations too. I don't immediately go to the ghost box or pull out a laser grid or whatever. It kind of varies, and if we do use a laser grid, which we use a lot of the time,
right? We have now. We didn't used to, but now we do.
I would probably suggest putting it in a certain area, not just well, they see it over here, but what about this other area?
Right.
Kind of thing. I kind of read the room a little bit and
get that feeling that you're having, so maybe it's down there instead of,
or just anything we can off the beaten path, because maybe they see it there all the time. Like I said, what if it's coming on the opposite way and it's stronger over here or whatever, But I don't really have a go-to, I would say, per se. I mean, not that I know of.
Just based on it's just it depends on what location you're in.
Yeah, I like having options. Actually, we have quite a few electronic devices we use, and some designed specifically for this, some that are not, and I like thinking outside the box sometimes and trying to get new inventive ideas to where we can try different things.
So what do you have with you?
I have nothing.
Okay.
We'll go before we jump into that. What did you think about it? As far as
what do I think?
I mean, or anybody for that matter. What do you guys think?
For my go-to thing first is like I hate asking the same mundane questions all the time. I like to go in feeling relaxed and just make myself feel presentable in a relaxed.
Right.
You can come to me kind
approachable.
of person. Approachable.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And and I'll ask the questions. Like. Can I help you? You want to go with me down here? Tap out a number that you got of how many are with you. Are you by yourself? Can I? Why are you crying? What can I do for you?
Mm-hmm.
That's what we're here for. Well, what can I do? It's worked. I mean, in some cases, not all the time.
No, yeah.
Half the time it doesn't work for. I'm saying sometimes it works. For me, it
no, of course. I mean, not everything's going to work the same every location. So, I mean, there's places I know that they've reported seeing children or whatever, and I'll play the angle of, well, I have 2 kids.
Right.
You want to bring them back and play with you, maybe.
Right.
And I've got responses that way that are great. Like, there's one location that asked me, well, what are their names? Like, it was a little child. You can definitely tell they were curious about that question. I said, well, I have kids. I'll bring them back. What are their names? And it kind of took me for a loop when I heard that. I'm like, oh shit! Now I have to bring them back,
Yeah.
No, just kidding.
And I do try to eliminate myself from from the group. Sometimes I will go off by myself, kind of like in Nest City, where I usually, besides the time when you were up there, and you were reading off some stuff, from the book up there in the upstairs, but that time when it was just you, me, Paul, and Michelle, you three went upstairs and I'm on the second floor, and I'm by myself, and I was just putting batteries in and working on stuff. I had the key in my pocket. We were the only people alive in the building, and the fact that I was hearing talking and giggling and laughing down the hallway, and it just blew my mind.
Right.
It made me stand right up, and I don't know if it was just because I took myself out of the equation. I put myself by myself and alone, and it gave myself that opportunity.
Less distraction.
It could be. You're more focused on the surrounding.
Yeah.
I mean, that brings up a good point. That speaking of Nest City, Jeremiah, I think you remember that we tried the angle of the Masons, and it seemed like the activity did pick up.
Yeah, it did. They were whoever was there. If they were, I really just the way the activity picked up, because I was. I'd get in a lot of trouble from the Blue Lodge if I made a lot of that public, but
no. I'm just saying, the fact that the approach we took.
I do not know Jeremiah.
It was just the approach we took on that.
But they did. It picked up, and you could tell the whole mood of the room shifted, and it wasn't necessarily negative.
No, not even.
It was just like it got their attention. It really like if there was the spirit of an old Mason there.
Right.
It was like the sense I got from it is like he had an appreciation.
Yeah.
Because.
I think there's a lot.
It was a big part of his life when when he was alive.
Right.
So
again, he felt connected to what was going on. So
you presented that, and it was what you were doing. It made the room blow up just in noise. I know Renee and I just stood there like, what is going on?
Well, we did it again the second time, and that's when it really picked up.
Yeah.
Because I don't know where you were at in the building, but.
I never know where I'm at in the building.
That's when we started seeing the shadows, and you actually had your crystals out at the time, and you had the reaction, the spinning of the crystal a certain way, responses and stuff like that.
Right.
So a lot of things picked up prior to, and then it got even stronger. So as far as what I brought tonight, well, I think a lot of people think trigger objects. We talked about earlier. There's a side of things where we play sounds, or if you're in a I've seen shows where they've been out. We talked about the Western, and they actually brought old guns. Like Civil War battles, especially.
Yeah.
They fired, actual cannons out there, and the activity has picked up. But no, I didn't bring a cannon here.
Damn it! I wanted to see that.
No, just for some things. I mean, this is one trigger object. We use a lot on some locations. It's a spirit box. The SB7. You see them on TV. We've had some great success with this. Sometimes we get nothing out of this. But I mean, I know we've had our names called through it quite a few times, which is impressive, especially when one of the locations was out in the middle of nowhere. I mean, one of them was out in Kingman that one time, and my name came through for one of the first times. We had Ben had his name called out in Granola.
Yeah.
When the thing that really stood out for me on this that night was the only radio station coming through, because this is a modified radio. It sweeps fast, forward or backwards, depending on what you choose. The only thing that was coming through that night was a Spanish station, and it was clearly Spanish, and it was like one station, and then it would go through the whole loop, and you wouldn't hear it again for a while.
Right.
When we were asking for his name or anybody's name in the room to come through, and his name got called out, his full name was, well, not full name, his first name,
his
proper name, Benjamin instead of Ben.
Right.
That kind of took us back for a loop.
Right. Yeah, which is that's not really something you'd expect to hear on a Spanish station.
Yeah. That clear and that audible. I mean, the room was quiet other than that at the time, and I know you witnessed it. I witnessed it. Brendan, Claire, Ben, Renee, myself.
I wasn't there.
Oh, you weren't in the first one?
Just to let everybody know, I was not there.
You're never there. Were you in a different part of the building again?
I was working.
Can't kidding.
No, that I missed that one where when you guys had that happen.
Okay, sorry.
No, I've heard the story. I've heard the audio. It's amazing.
Right, and it's on that was on our website. That actually is on our website, I think.
I
So
think
is the one
yeah.
from Kingman's on the website too. When I called my name. We've also had audible intelligent responses other than just names.
Right.
One of them, I'll probably throw this out there, for Nest City, we had that public investigation, and I had this going in the basement, and a couple people in the room, there were younger people with me, and they had not your typical name, not your Johns, your Marys kind of a thing. One of them was named Summer, and the other boy, I can't remember his name. It was something that wasn't. It was kind of a little bit more not unique, but not your typical name. So I'm saying one of our names to this ghost box, and nothing was coming through, and all of a sudden it did say her name, Summer, which it was summertime, so I take it with a grain of salt because maybe it was a station talking about summer or something coming through, whatever, But when it said the boy's name, I'm like, whoa, that's weird, that wasn't unusual, and they both kind of got wide-eyed and freaked out a little bit. Well, then we were asking again, is that truly you? Say that again, or whatever, and it repeated the same thing. Which, okay, that gave me a little bit more credibility to it.
Right.
And then, after that rotation, that's when we were leaving the actual rooms to go upstairs, and that's when something physically reached out to those two and gave both of them, they pushed one of them, whatever, and it scratched. They both got scratched with the same type of scratch in the same location.
Wow.
On one side of the body that, it doesn't mean it was malevolent or malicious or anything like that. It's just the fact that their name got called through the ghost box, the trigger object, and then they both got attacked.
Right.
The thing that was really weird was I physically saw it happen, and I saw the person come out from the shadows. There was like a little bit of a light there. I thought it was your son actually, Cody, who's also on our team. I physically saw it with my own eyes. I saw him because the thing jumped out and said "boo," and it grabbed him, whatever, and I was like, I was the last person walking up behind him. I could physically see a color to this person who did it. And I was like, I was pissed, and I was like, damn it, Cody, what are you doing scaring us? I'm not pissed, but I was like, don't do that kind of stuff on location. And then I looked because they're freaking out, and they actually toppled over and knocked the rest of the group with them, all of us, knocked them over except for me. I was behind enough to where I didn't fall. But I looked up and I was going to say something to Cody, and there's nobody there.
Wow.
And they're just in full panic mode. So I know the reaction was genuine and real. It wasn't something that was made up or faked. I radio upstairs because I was like, I'll go first. Sorry guys, I'll leave, that make sure they're safe. They didn't want to move. They were frozen in fear. So they said, can you get somebody to come down here? So I radio upstairs to say, through the walkies, can somebody come grab us? And Jason answers, I think, me. So I expect to see him come downstairs. The door opens. Cody comes downstairs.
Whoa.
So it was not Cody.
Right.
Even though
he wasn't
I
even on the same floor.
No, and I said, Cody, were you just down here? And he's like, no. I was upstairs. I mean, I know he wasn't because I saw him come down, physically come down the stairs. But I would have sworn my life that was him that jumped out and scared him.
Wow.
Here's the caveat to this. We go upstairs. This group actually gets too scared. They actually leave. They're done with the night. That we talked to them, make sure they were safe. They calmed down a little bit. They were done at this point. We're talking, and people in other groups from the surrounding area are listening, or that live in the city, that same town, hear this. They start thinking about it. Like they come up to us. Well, in that basement where we were at used to be an actual haunted funhouse location they put, for Halloween.
Oh no shit!
So what are the odds that this thing we encountered was
reenacting like that.
Reenacting the whole haunted house phenomenon,
No
boo!
shit.
I'm scaring
I
you.
never thought of that.
It was just it blew my mind that night because the whole events with the name to the ghost box, and what happened, who got attacked physically of the group, only those two, and then what I saw and what I didn't see. It's just like that was one that made a lasting impression on me. I couldn't believe it myself. So the spirit box does work when used properly. I mean. Now, here's the downside to it. You can easily fake material, I believe, through that. If I have a walkie-talkie, maybe I can probably get close to.
Yeah.
Maybe, and it's radio waves, It is digital, but it's radio waves. So I feel like if a car is passing by with a semi or something, you might get some kind of outside interference.
Right.
But the few times we've used it where it's been successful, where instead of our physical names on command, or in this instance, it had that reaction, that was, to me, it's a valuable piece of evidence at that time. We've used the other thing too, the portal, which that was the case I was talking about earlier a little bit, where I was reading the evidence and stuff, where we've had it actually get manipulated. But
And the portal's an app only on the Android phone.
Well, yes, and there's also physical, like this. There's an actual physical portal, but what we were using was the app, the portal version of it on the phone. You're right.
Right.
And it does the same thing, but in this case, it plays. You wouldn't describe it. I don't want to talk all the time.
The portal, it's saying words, but it's saying every word backwards. So the idea of it is that if you hear something forward, and it's answering what you just asked, and it says it forward, then it most likely is true. And we've had some pretty good success with it, where it's answered quite a bit of questions for us, and it's not something that you can manipulate really with walkie-talkie or anything. I mean, I don't assume that you can, but
I've even heard that it's maybe even a foreign language that's being pumped through that, possibly German.
It's weird because I mean, it really does. It sounds like German most of the time when it's coming through there. But
we used it on a location not too long ago. Well, it's been a little bit ago. But the thing that really jumped out at us was the line of questioning we're asking was about demonic activity. And and clear as day, I say, ask it, "Are you a demon?" But we didn't capture the. Well, we did hear it because we all responded to it. It says yes in a deeper, darker, kind of guttural voice. Because you go, did that say yes?
Yeah.
And we're like, yeah, we all heard it. Nobody wanted to admit it at the time. We were like, yeah, that did say yes. However, what it gets interesting is the thing we were using was off of Jeremiah's phone. It's sitting there stationary. It's all on camera. Nobody's touching it. Nobody's moving it. The thing flips, like the screen flips. And next thing you know, you see this thing start typing it out. We don't see it. We just see that. We can hear the typing on the actual phone, the clicking, and it tells us maybe, maybe not. And we all were just
it activated the Google Voice.
That's what it was, yeah.
Yeah,
so you can hear it typing.
But there was no one talking at the time. But the Google Voice was activated, and this stuff just shows up on the screen. Like, what the hell? Yeah. Where did that come from?
I think all of our reaction in the room were like, "What the?"
I've in all the years I've done this, I've never seen something like that happen. Right. That was insane.
Right, and that's one that the client doesn't even know about 100%. Yeah, we haven't had a chance to. We're gonna get to reveal that to them, and we have it on, like I said, digital recording. We also have it on video, which is weird. I mean, multiple video. I think you had your camera going that night.
Yeah.
Actually, it's on Facebook Live. Matter of fact, that's where one of the videos came from. Because my other camera shut down prior to, but. Once again, the portal served its purpose because it actually was responding forward, and it's clear as day. You hear the yes in the deep guttural voice, but you also hear the maybe, maybe not, which is a female.
Right.
Which is, once again, going back to the theory of can demons, do they try to gain your trust by becoming a small female child or whatever to gain your trust?
Right.
But the fact it's responding to us kind of was another outstanding phenomenon.
Right.
And you had a recent experience with it too, remember? When we were at the house, we thought we were going to become an interview, and it, talking about that Friday night when it was you, Jeremiah, myself.
Yeah.
It was the night before Halstead.
Yeah. We, it was, once again, it was Jeremiah's phone.
It was a portal, yep.
Yeah, using the portal, and as strange as it is, this was a family friend. I haven't seen her since she was like young in 8th grade. Now she's an adult going to college and everything, and they're having issues at their house. And the fact that the portal, we had it running for about 45 minutes or so.
Yeah. It
was going non-stop, and it was actually, we were getting answers through it that was actually coming through, and it said, who do you want out of here? And it kept saying her name. But it also said my name.
Yeah. Right.
It was saying her name and my name, and it was like, we're the only two that had that in the group of people. We're the only two that had that connection from, who we know each other. We've known each other for a long time.
Right.
And it kept saying that we needed to go to the basement.
Yeah.
go to the basement.
Yep.
And that's where they were having a lot of their activity, was down in the basement. So it was, it was really weird, because hearing my name, I mean, I kind of, like, once again was standing off alone.
Mm-hmm.
I was standing there kind of watching the staircase going down in the basement, and I could
Right.
hear the portal going on. I'm not even in the room. And I kept hearing you guys going, did that say Jason again?
Yeah.
I'm like, what did I do? What?
Right.
I'm not even really talking tonight. I haven't really done anything.
In all honesty, I expected something to happen to you two that night. I didn't want to say it in the moment, but nothing
Thank you.
really ever happened. Well, 'cause I don't want to put that in your guys' mind, and then you guys physically maybe manipulate that to happen.
Right. Self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yeah.
type
When it
thing.
when it said my name more than 2 times, I was just like, okay, so is something going to happen? Because that's when I started heading more toward the basement.
Yeah.
I started heading down a little bit,
Yeah.
and it was weird. It was a weird feeling.
Well, and that place had already had some crazy shit happen in the basement
Right.
earlier that night before we got there.
Yeah. Exactly.
I mean, really crazy shit.
Oh yeah. It was enough to where I kind of heeded it as a warning that if had I not really bought into it, I would have said, you guys can go down the basement, you two. I would have sent you two down there by yourselves.
Yeah.
But the fact that I was kind of buying it, I mean, I was actually feeling it, what it was saying, and I didn't put you guys in that position.
Hey, you know me, I would have went. I would have gone.
Yeah, but you also taken it as a client that.
Oh, yeah.
Not
No, I wouldn't,
Yeah,
yeah.
So but that would have been why, had I been a little bit more not believing in it.
Yeah.
Fact is, I was like, nah, I'm not gonna put you guys in that kind of situation.
Because when it comes to like actually heading off into the darkness, I think there's only been one location that I've actually just stopped and was like, no.
Yeah.
Other than that, I've always gone like running into the darkness. It doesn't matter. But
Yeah.
whether I'm tripping on chairs or doing something stupid, I'm running into the darkness, going after what I think I hear or see. But
We don't do stuff stupid. We don't do anything
no, nothing ever.
We don't fall
happens
through
to us.
ceilings. We don't get chased by drones or AKBs
Or fall in the cemetery off of a chair. Yeah.
I heard that too, by the way. I'm not even looking at you guys. I heard that.
What do you guys hear?
Voices.
Ah,
Yep. What? That's you.
No, it's not.
Move.
See? That has been showing up. Let's see.
It's you. See?
No, that's not.
You're reaching in right now. It's your hand right here. Watch. I'm gonna smack the shit out of it. I saw it earlier. I'm pretty sure it's you. You're just in the camera's edge. Next thing we have here is one you see everywhere. It's the EMF, the millimeter. You want to tell the story behind this?
Sure. I love telling stories.
Yeah.
So this is everything you've seen these on Ghost Adventures, Ghost Hunters. I mean, every show basically. This is like the, I don't know, kind of like the beginners thing for ghost hunting. It tells the EMF signal on here, which should be a 0.0. If it ticks up, if it changes over time, there's possibly something going on, especially if you've already done a baseline in a room and it's nothing, and then you start asking questions, you start kind of pushing it, and then it starts to tick up a little bit and EMF, so there's a chance that there's something manipulating that. It has temperature on there too. It happens a lot. It's based on the creator of this, actually, his daughter died in a car crash. What was it, senior year, high school. So it's called a millimeter. Up here and you can't see it here, but if you look it up on the millimeters, it has mel-8704R. The numbers actually represent the year she was born and the year she died, and the mel represents Melissa. That's his daughter, and he used this because he creates all kinds of different. I'm
pretty sure he created this.
Yeah, the mechanisms that we use. He and he does it all for. I think it's for donations too. It's donations toward relief funds for families who have lost loved ones too soon. They can't afford to do funerals or anything like that. But he actually had a lot of success trying to communicate with his daughter.
Right.
So and that being said, that's what we do with it. We set it up. It it's worked a little in a lot of places. I always enjoy watching Paula work with this, especially every stinking time we are in Wilson, and her and I are up in the dental office above the sew shop.
Oh yeah.
She can get this to work nonstop, asking questions. I walk into the room, it goes back to 0. I walk away, and she gets it to like tick up with every question. You know, it works.
Right.
I don't know if I'm just a negative or whatever, but
Yeah, negative Nancy.
I know,
thought too,
I know.
Yeah.
But we have this. Go ahead.
No, it's Gary Galf. I can't say his name. It's Gafka. Is
I
his
forget
last
what
name.
his name is.
He's the
yeah.
one that does them all.
But
Makes
yeah.
this equipment that we use, and we once again the same house talked about with the basement and the portal. Remember, we were in the bedroom and I was getting a reading on that, and I said, you know, if you're truly here, give me a certain reading.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I'm gonna stay here. If you make it go down to a certain number, I'll go to the basement, and the thing dropped to the exact number we asked it for,
Right.
and it stayed there. So I'm like, well, that's my sign. I need to go to the basement. Apparently, at that point. So,
And not to mention, it read high within all the very tall mirrors
yeah,
in each room. Each room had a mirror.
Yep.
And you walk over to the mirror, and it was like it would just jump high.
yeah.
Interesting.
And it was weird. It was.
And in every corner of the rooms, remember?
Yeah.
The mirrors were.
Yeah. That's
Which is ironic. But
which is almost like almost like a portal, like
Yeah.
something
Yeah.
was jumping back and
Jumping
forth
through
through.
the
that's
from
how
mirror to
it-
mirror.
Possibility.
That's how I felt
I mean,
it was moving around.
What were the readings?
It varied on what was going on, or
Like 1.8?
No.
Really?
it just
Okay.
it jumped around. Like I said, it wasn't a set reading. It was usually typical base for line reading is 0.0 or 0.2 at the max.
I finally managed to track down a good picture of a millimeter. I've got it up on the screen for him
Okay.
now.
Yep, it's perfect. Yeah, so you can see that's exactly the ones we use. Some of them they're modified where they have flashlights. Some of them have REM pods on them where you can motion sensors on them. There's different ones. The higher price you buy, the more
gadgets it
gadgets
has.
you get on that. Yeah. So one of our newer ones, not new, but it's new enough, as we use, speaking of REM pods, is an actual REM pod. Looks like this, has an antenna. The thing about these things, I'll turn it on, it's going to be a little, not too loud enough. You can see it lights up. What it does is
Bring it up a little
it's
higher, your
yeah,
screen's there.
it's what it does is it's motion censored, electric and magnetic field manipulated. So if you touch it, you can see what the stronger the thing is. It'll give you a reading. We've used it on a couple locations where we've set it up where activity has been known to happen, and we've had things actually play with this thing and touch it. And first time it went off, I was like, "What the hell is that noise?" Oh crap, that's the REM pod. It threw me for a loop. I'm not used to having.
Oh, I'm not used to
I
that
can't
sound
wait
yet.
to see that at Halstead.
Yeah, it was interesting because it went off in the exact location the girl said she had just saw earlier in that when we were there. That she's like, it's in the doorway, so I put it close to the doorway where she was seeing this thing.
So what's the difference between that and a K2 meter?
K2 meter doesn't have the beeping noise for one, doesn't have the sound quality, but it also it's just a different type of.
Type of measurement.
It's the same thing where it detects electromagnetic field, something that
Okay.
energy is pulsating it, generating it. It's also directional. This one has different types where if it's on certain things, it may be the intensity. It's similar though, because
Okay.
K2 has the strength meter, basically, at least we'll call it, where the higher the strength.
Yeah, the new ones
numbers.
actually, I think, beep, don't they?
I have no
I think
idea.
they start beeping.
I
That
don't know
one
about
lady
K2.
at the museum.
No,
had
that's
one.
not a K2.
That was
That was a cell sensor.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, which we do have one of those too, but this one is just they all make the same
Okay.
sound. Hers are just white with the red top.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if you turn it on, it shouldn't. The battery's not dead,
Nope.
but it may not work because I don't have the probe attached to it. So
The probe.
the probe is broken. Remember?
Oh
So
yeah,
that's
you
too
broke
much.
the probe.
I didn't break the probe.
Okay.
I think Rose put it somewhere you shouldn't have. So
Oh, that would be just too easy. Okay.
So Jeremiah, what do you have there before we run out
yeah,
of time
we're
here?
getting close to time
Okay,
here.
so this is a little bit different type of trigger object. What you guys have talked about has been things that are that can incite interaction
Right.
with measurable gauges and lights and all that kind of stuff. But this is more of a metaphysical type trigger object, and it's something of my own design. Not really to incite interaction with this in particular, but to, I don't know, hopefully my thought is that maybe through metaphysical means it'll enhance or augment the interaction that we can get with, and it's just something I want to play with and see if it works.
Yep.
So, but
you gonna bring that with you on
see if I can get a good camera angle on it here.
Yeah.
These are symbols of my own design, and right now they're just penciled onto this piece of bone. This is the shoulder blade of a pork shoulder that I smoked here a couple of weeks ago.
He means never mind.
And so anyway, I took that bone out of it, and I'm eventually going to get these symbols, or take my Dremel and carve these symbols into it, and with the intention of using this as kind of an object to metaphysically augment the ability to interact with whatever spirits may be there. So
why bone?
Bone, because bone is traditionally, in many different traditions and paths, bone is what's used because you get a bone out of something that's dead, so it's used to interact with the dead.
Right.
And so the symbols are specifically designed to augment the way energy flows through a location or through a room to help. Well, this one this one right here is intended to help bridge the gap between the living and the dead specifically, and this one to assist with the communication process specifically, and then this one, just for good measure, I threw in a little bit of protection, so because you never know what you're going to come across.
Right.
So, but yeah, bone is traditionally a tool to communicate one way or another with the dead.
Right.
So,
which brings up a good point. Up, the original Ouija boards were made out of the planchette. They say it's planchette or whatever, plank, whatever they call it.
Planchette.
It was made out of bone, and that's once again to communicate with the dead.
Right.
That's why when they say Ouija boards, I think tendency that the original Ouija boards probably had a little bit more
oomph.
Yeah, to it. Now, can you get some reaction through the ones you buy off a shelf? Yes, because you're asking something to channel through it.
Right.
It still may be a toy, possibly. I mean, so is some of this stuff. This is a radio. I mean,
yeah, this is the same thing. You're doing the same thing with asking questions through a radio. So,
yes. Yeah, you were talking about the portal a while ago, and I mean that's just a phone, an app on a phone,
right?
And it actually has. I was reading up on the portal and how it works specifically. It has a limited, specific programmed vocabulary.
Right.
It rotates through it's got several different voices programmed into it, and it rotates through those different voices saying the vocabulary words that it has coded into it.
Right.
And then it also plays it backwards.
Right.
So it's how is anything gonna come across normal sounding on that? But it does.
Right. It does.
It does. I actually, the last time when we were in Dodge City, when I was up there with you guys, and what's that been, a month ago? Good God, really?
It was early. It was 2 months now.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. Goes by fast.
But that was actually the first time I've had something, or I've heard my name come across something like that, and it was on the portal, up in one of those dressing rooms.
Wow.
So.
Insane. So yeah, those things do work. I mean, what's I was gonna say?
I was just going back to it's Jeremiah in the dressing room with his blue dress.
So I
Isn't
just
that an
don't know.
Elvis
Sorry.
song?
Sorry.
I think that's an Elvis song.
I don't know who Elvis is. Bro. I'm not old. I'm too young to know who Elvis is, bro. Sorry. But anyways, no. So do trigger objects work in your mind? In your opinion?
I do. Whether it's people, whether it's objects they bring into their house by accident, and they don't know. I mean, we're always talking about antique shops,
Right.
or relatives. Antiques being given to family members or whatever. I believe that any of that stuff can be a trigger object to everything that we use.
Right.
Do we know how to push and when to just be calm about stuff? Yeah, we do. Just because of over time we've learned not to go ballistic with this stuff. We're not walking into people's homes with Ouija boards all the time and doing that. No, I've never done a Ouija board. I haven't even been with you guys when you guys have done it.
No.
So I've never seen one actually.
You're on another floor, right? I get it.
What's that?
You're on another floor again. Nothing. I was going back to the call back earlier because you said you missed everything. Like,
He was
I
back
do,
on his
I
own
do.
stuff.
Yeah, he was. Anyways, no, he just wasn't there at that particular time.
No, well, I was actually working on a ghost tour that night when you guys were working there.
Oh, that's right, you were. Yep.
So I was telling stories. I drove past the place probably
Yeah,
on the bus. We drove right past it,
Bet
but
you did, yeah.
you guys are off having fun. I think I actually made the comment. I was like, hey, the team I'm with is actually down in town and doing a job right now.
Yep.
So, but
Yep. So
I do believe it's all possible.
Definitely, yeah. Like I said, you use them the proper way, you're going to invite something in, or like you said, unbeknownst to you, you might just. We've seen a case where a chair that was given, actually a couple of times, a chair that was given to somebody, or they bought just whatever, a child's chair, and next thing you know, the activity picks up, and we asked them, have you brought anything in the house recently? You know what? I was given a chair from my grandparents that was their chair.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, it holds
Could
energy. Yeah, we don't know until we test that theory. And then sometimes it's simple as removing it from the house. Does the activity decrease or whatever? So, yep. So I definitely agree. Trigger objects are a viable part of our research that we do, and we've had some great success with them over the years.
Absolutely.
And we'll continue to, I expect. So
I love it.
Cool. Yep. Well, that should bring us close to the end here of our episode. Once again, like we always say, every episode in the middle, during, make sure you go down below, like and subscribe. Like our videos, subscribe to our channels. Make sure you get the word out. And once again, if you have anything you want to talk to us about, hit us up. Call us during the middle of the show. Let us know what you want to hear about, what you want to talk about.
Yep.
And everything's fair game. So, anything else? Any final thoughts from anybody? Great.
No, we
Kidding.
don't forget. Sorry to say, Dodge City's already sold out for next month. But we have keep looking for tickets to go on sale for Oberlin. You could call the Last Indian Raid Museum for ticket sales for that. The tickets are only on sale through them, so you have to call the museum itself to get information on that. We haven't set a date for Nest City, but it will be in October, so we got a long ways on that one.
Yeah.
Wilson's still in the air. We don't know when. They're so busy nowadays. We haven't been able to. They've got a lot of weddings and a lot of things going on there. So, and
Plus, we have private homes and private
Yeah.
businesses that we're doing along the way, and
Yeah.
we'll actually be, hopefully, fingers crossed, we'll all be maybe doing the show from a different locations in the near future also too. So we'll
already
actually
got
be out.
permission for that.
Yeah, we'll
so,
be out on location filming our shows. So
Yeah.
it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be a busy year. Already started.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
continued. So
So
Very
we'll,
cool.
We'll be back down in downtown Wichita here soon
Yep.
Yeah.
for an episode.
it's gonna be fun.
In an actual known location that's haunted, and it's not the ones that you've seen before. So
Yep. Very true.
That's
Very
gonna
cool.
be cool.
Yep.
I've actually never been in there.
I haven't been there one time. One time. We had
need
great
a trim.
results.
You need a trim.
Yeah.
Well, up top.
Yeah. Well, I've got my headphones on. I can't show you now, but.
Rose, we can see they do nails for you too. I'm just saying, if you
Mani petty. You need a mani petty.
I do. That
Right on. Well, thanks you guys for another exciting episode. We'll be back next week, same time, same friendly channel.
Absolutely.
Yep. All right, y'all. We'll see you next week.
Have a good week.
All right. See ya.